What's going on, YouTube, and welcome back to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy, Kevin Forte, and today we're taking a look at the Toronto Maple Leafs, as I think that the Maple Leafs, obviously they added, right? Great job by Kyle Dubas. He brought in some really good players to this team. He brought in Sam Lafferty and Ryan O'Reilly up front with Nola Chari. On the back end, they bring in Jake McCabe, Luke Shen, Eric Gustafson. A pretty good deadline overall for the Leafs. But what's the biggest issue with the Leafs that they didn't address? And we're going to take a look at that today. So the Toronto Maple Leafs are in a pretty good spot on paper, right? It looks pretty good. They're a playoff team for sure, right? They're pretty much a lock to make the playoffs. They made some pretty big moves. But why is there still a sense of, is this team going to actually be a good playoff team? And when you look at this team, going back to January 28th of 2023, so earlier this year, Matt Murray he had an injury to his ankle, and we have not seen Matt Murray play since. So, since he's gone on LTIR, it's been kind of an interesting show with the goaltending. They've tried to do the three-goalie tandem with Ilya Samsonov, Joseph Woll, and Eric Kallgren. And they've had mitigating results with those three guys. So Eric Kallgren is really, I would say, the third option, or the fourth option in their depth chart, right? He's only played 10 NHL games this season. He's got a 2.67 goals against average and an 8.98 save percentage. And he's only played 10 games in the National Hockey League. He's played 18 games in the Marley system in the AHL. So Kallgren's definitely gotten more time in the AHL than anybody else on this list. Joseph Woll has played 15 games in the AHL. His numbers have been pretty good in the American Hockey League. A 931 save percentage, a 2.31 goals against average. So Joseph Woll, shout out to him. I watched him in Boston College when he came to Madison Square Garden a couple of years back. He's only played 3 games in the NHL. So that kind of tells you the storyline there. In terms of priority, maybe Joseph Woll is fourth on that depth chart, but I think they've made it a pretty even split overall. Ilya Samsonov, a 2.39 goals against average and a 915 save percentage. So Samsonov has actually played very good this season. He's already played 32 games this season, right? And then Matt Murray, who is really supposed to be your starting goaltender, a 2.73 goals against average and a 911 save percentage. He hasn't even hit 20 games this season. He's only played 19 games this season with the Leafs. So for the most part, this season has been all about Ilya Samsonov. And I actually said, potentially look at Ilya Samsonov as a Vezina Trophy finalist. Maybe not winning the Vezina, but as a finalist. And he's shown that potential this year. When I look at Samsonov and what he's capable of, I think he just didn't find his step right away in North America, in Hershey, in the AHL, and with the Washington Capitals. I think going to the Leafs, he's found that game that he's been looking for since he left Russia. And I think when you look at Samsonov, that is a good thing, right? Seeing his success. But the problem is he really going to be able to compete in a 7-game series with Freddie Anderson, Igor Shesterkin, Linus Ullmark, or Andrei Vasilevsky, which they might see in the first round, more likely than not in the first round. And that's kind of where you have your questions, right? Because the 3-goalie system seems to be working for now for the Leafs, but come playoff time, will Samsonov be able to play every single game? This is the most NHL hockey Ilya Samsonov has ever seen in his NHL career. And, when you look at kind of the longevity side of things, is he going to burn out here toward the end of the season and maybe lose a little bit of confidence? Or is he going to be able to thrive with this opportunity going into the playoffs? It's going to be critical here for Samsonov here over the next couple of weeks to not only gain the respect and the trust from the fan base there in Toronto, but from his head coach, Sheldon Keefe, and Kyle Dubas. Because I think that the Leafs need to have their 1A guy. And I think Samsonov has continued to and is kind of asserting himself into that spot as the true number 1 moving forward in Toronto. But this is a real question mark because he's never really done this before at the NHL level. And goalies have done it before, right? They've had their breakout season and go win a Stanley Cup. Ask Jordan Binnington his first season in St. Louis. It is possible, but there is definitely questions about that. And that is going to be something that is going to be discussed from now till the Stanley Cup playoffs, and even in that first round series, potentially into the second round playoffs if they get that far of the Stanley Cup playoffs. So, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Are you confident enough in Ilya Samsonov to take this team on a real Stanley Cup run? Not only just winning a round, but potentially winning two, going to the Eastern Conference Finals, or if you really want to blow up the world, potentially going to the Stanley Cup Final and maybe even winning it. What do you guys think down below? Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys again next time.